These Teraflex by Fox 2.0 performance front and rear reservoir shocks are for those of you that have a 2007 to 2018 JK that has 2.5 to 4 inches of lift and are looking for an incredibly high quality set of shocks that are not only going to hold up really well for you for a very long time, but are maybe more importantly going to provide you with a very comfortable ride. These are going to be a pretty easy 2 out of 3 wrench installation. We're going to give it 2 out of 3 because some of the nut and bolt hardware can be a little bit tough to get to, and there is a little bit of dialing that you'll probably want to do to the shocks once you get them installed, but we'll show you how to do that in just a second. So when you're looking at a set of shocks, you're going to have a couple of different options. You're going to have twin tube versus monotube. You're going to have something like this that's a reservoir shock that's also going to be adjustable. You're going to have non-adjustable. There are a lot of different choices out there, and what is best for you really depends on how you're going to be using your Jeep. What you're going to have here is a monotube shock that is also an adjustable reservoir shock. So the idea behind a monotube shock is that because there is only one wall to the tube here, and it's a nice big tube, that the plunger on the end of the shaft can also be nice and large, and because you have all that surface area, you can do a lot of damping. Because this is a pretty long shock, again for 2.5 to 4 inches of lift, and it has this reservoir here, you're going to have a lot of fluid inside the shock, and the benefit to that is that a shock builds up heat as it's worked. If you have additional fluid, it can help to dissipate that heat faster, and you're not going to end up with shock fade as much. The fact that this is an aluminum bodied shock also helps with the dissipation of the heat. Now, the fact that this is adjustable means that you can really dial in the exact ride that you're looking for, so you can stiffen it up or loosen it up and make it a little bit softer depending on how you like the Jeep. And you're going to have a small adjustment knob right on the top of the reservoir here that allows you to do that. So overall, very high quality stuff. Again, aluminum body shock, monotube shock. You're going to have some high quality bushings here that again aren't going to end up wearing out on you and cause a bunch of play. They're going to hold up really well. You just have a set of shocks that are very high quality and also going to provide that very comfortable ride that you're looking for. Now, when you're looking at something that has names on it like Teraflex and Fox, 2 companies that are known to build very high quality stuff and be toward the top end of the performance spectrum, you're also going to have to expect to pay a little bit more for these. This kit here of 4 shocks is going to come in at right around that $1,300 mark, which again is going to be toward the upper end of the price range. Certainly not the highest for a set of shocks, but it is going to be up there. But if you are looking for quality and comfort, this is a great place to look if you have the budget for it. So we said before, 2 out of 3 wrenches for the install. Let me show you how to get them bolted up.
Tools used for this installation are as follows. We have a small impact gun or a ratchet, a 19mm ratcheting wrench, a 14mm ratcheting wrench, and a standard 18mm wrench, an 18mm socket, a 15mm socket, a short extension, and a small pry or punch tool. All right, now let's begin with the installation of our new shocks on the rear of our JK. Now I have our vehicle up on the lift and supported, is locked down into place. Now if you're doing this at home on floor jacks, please make sure you use good heavy duty jack stands just for safety reasons, and support your rear axle with your jack when removing your rear shock. Your rear shock actually holds everything together so your spring doesn't fall out. So you're definitely going to want to support that, and it'll make it easier later down the line when we try and get that lower mount back in. Now we're going to begin by removing our original shock that's on here, and as you can see, our Jeep already has a lift kit on it with a different aftermarket shock. Well, now it's time to upgrade to our new Fox racing shocks. We're going to be removing our lower mount and then follow that up with our upper mount. Let's go ahead and get started. Now with the 18mm socket and wrench, we're going to go ahead and get our lower mount off. Now with a 15mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove 2 bolts on our upper mount. We're going to take one completely out and just loosen up the other one. Go ahead and slide our shock out. Now with our old shock out, we're ready to go ahead and get our new one in, and it goes in the exact reverse order as the removal of this one. Now we're ready to go ahead and get our new Fox racing shocks up inside of our Jeep. And as you can see on our top mount, they're not slotted like the other ones were. so we had to remove our bolt all the way to get these in. Now I went ahead and already installed the clamp that connects our reservoir to our shock tube itself. And you just tighten that down with a 1/4 inch Allen key and you're good to go. Now to slide this up, all right, now with our 2 top bolts in place, they're only loosely installed. We haven't tightened them down just yet. We're gonna go ahead and get our lower mount in. Now you might need to use some type of straight pin or a small pry tool just to line up the hole so you can go ahead and get your bolt in. Now using the same tools that we use for disassembly, we're gonna reassemble. We're gonna use our 18mm on the bottom. All right, now with our lower mount tightened up, we can go ahead and just tighten up the upper mount, then we'll be done with the rear. And just remember that all these steps are the exact same on both sides. After we get everything tightened, we can move to the front. All right, now with the rear all tied up, we can go ahead and get the front done. Now here on the front of our Jeep, just like on the rear, we're gonna use an 18mm socket and wrench to take off our lower mount. Once again, we have our differential supported by our pole jack. Now this takes the pressure off of our lower shock mount so we can slide the hardware out easily. Once we get up top, it's a little bit different than the rear. We're gonna use a 14mm ratcheting wrench to get that off. Now you can do this with a regular wrench, it'll just take a little bit more time. Ratcheting wrenches are a lifesaver when it comes to tight spaces like what we run into with our upper shock mount. Let's go ahead and get that done. Now to install our new shocks, we went ahead and put our upper bushing in place. We're just gonna go ahead and slide our new shock up in place, just like our old one came out. Now to tighten this up, we're gonna use a 19mm ratcheting wrench. Once again, you can do this with a normal wrench, just ratchet wrench will make life a hell of a lot easier. Well, that concludes our video of the installation of our new Fox shocks on our JK Jeep Wrangler. And I hope you enjoyed this video and you got a lot of information from it. Visit us again at ExtremeTerrain.com for more parts and videos like these.